I want to explain something. A friend of mine asked me today, when should we buy, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency? When should we sell? And, if the dollar starts to go down, when do we need to sell? Do we need to go in a different currency? Let me explain something to you. Take out your dollar and have a smell of that. Smell that dollar. What you're smelling there is the modern enslavement of mankind. That dollar is oppression. That dollar is holding the world hostage to play by only its rules and nothing else. That dollar is dominance of one country over all the rest. That dollar represents a lot of things. Now, when you buy Bitcoin, that's not something that's backed by a promise of we may or may not refund your money out of a bank if the bank goes bust. That is real money. That's actually real money. It costs money to make that. It's not like the paper where you print out something and that's the value of a dollar or less. I think that the penny, it costs more pennies to make a penny than it does what a penny is worth. Bitcoin is actually something that costs a lot of money to make, for computers to make. It has to be made by an algorithmic, by a computer generating things and get picked on a blockchain. Now, there's another thing you need to consider. You can go buy stuff with Bitcoin right now. Right now, you can buy a cup of coffee with Bitcoin, and in the future, it's only going to be more and more widely accepted. Now, what's happening is the dollar rules, it's king, and I think the dollar is stronger even than a lot of people think about. I was saying years ago that the dollar is going to have its day and it's going to come to an end, and that sounded crazy then, but right now it's happening. Right now, countries are actually making contracts together to abate the dollar. Now, that's fine. I mean, I actually think the dollar is going to go up from here at this April of 2023 and even rise in strength, but they're preparing for the future. We need to think about the future too. Even if we live here in the United States, this is our main currency, as it is the whole world. When you think about what's happening, the dollar has been used to hijack countries. It's been used as a means or even a reasoning to invade countries. Won't even get into all of that. But what I'm saying is Bitcoin is real money and that you can use it to buy things. Now, Bitcoin has its limitations. It's actually not my favorite cryptocurrency. You have currencies out there. Bitcoin you can track down to 8 people. It's somewhat private, but it's not all the way private. You have Monero and Zcash are things that are all the way private. There's Zen also. And when you send this to somebody, the government can't track where it came from or where it's going. Someone sends you some privacy coins, you can't track where it came from. This is true freedom. This is true money, where you actually pay for things that you want in exchange without anyone else interfering in your transaction. The dollar is interference. The dollar is something used also for taxation. I'm all for taxation too, but not when it's lorded over you as a control method, and where countries around the world can't be free to exchange except for playing by another country's rules. I don't believe in that. So when to buy and sell, you can buy Bitcoin at any time. It's going to go up in value long term. Same thing with the many cryptocurrencies. A lot of them will fail, and they do different things well. Like I said, the privacy coins. But this is something that we might not ever have to sell. We're talking about, well, how many U.S. dollars will I get back? Well, I need to exchange in, francs or like Swiss francs or anything like that. Well, we might not ever need to exchange. We might just be able to buy Bitcoin here at the low price, under a 30,000, and it might just keep going up in price. Now it's going to fluctuate. And the thing about buying and selling Bitcoin, if you don't understand this, what Bitcoin is, then maybe you shouldn't be buying it. If you think that you want to buy something and sell it, that's kind of tricky. It's easy to make money in crypto. It's hard to keep money. It's hard to know when to sell. That's the thing. But if you're buying, then buy for long term, then you can't go wrong. We might not ever need to trade back into US dollars. The dollar might disappear before we can even do that. I think within a couple of years here. And we'll have Bitcoin and we can exchange with Bitcoin. We might not need the dollar ever again. The central bank is going to come up with a digital dollar, a central bank digital dollar. And that's what they plan to transition to, because they all know that's going to happen. The dollar is coming to an end. It had a really awesome run, but then they decided to weaponize it and manipulate with it, and the whole system is rigged anyway. It's rigged to collect taxes from you without you knowing it by devaluing your dollar over time. The dollar has lost 96% of its value since 1917, or I think it was maybe 29, 17, somewhere around there. It's lost 20 or 96% of its value already. So the dollar is a method of control and taxation, the manipulative way, not up front, like we're going to take value of your savings in your home and everything, but, or well, not your home, but your savings. But we're going to take it manipulatively, like you don't know it, but we're taxing you. We're taxing you up the wazoo. So Bitcoin represents real money, represents freedom, as well as other cryptocurrencies. And I'm for gold and silver as well. That's going to hold its value, and will have possibly even more value in the future, because these BRICS nations that are saying they're going to decide on what currency to trade with, they're not going to agree on a currency. They're going to go with gold in the end. So it's not a bad idea to hold gold, hold it long term, because that's real money too. In fact, right there on a silver dollar, if you go with a silver dollar on a silver eagle, that's actual real currency here in the United States. It is legal tender, and it has to be accepted. Now we have Missouri, we have Texas, we have other states following suit to make sure that gold is going to be held as legal tender, silver and gold, and can always be exchanged. So they're already getting ready for the central bank to do their little manipulative dance, and then devalue the dollar down to nothing, and then they're going to do the old switcheroo on us and give us the central bank digital currency, CBDC. And that's the transition they're planning for. So we have to plan as well. We got to plan for our future. We need to be good stewards and just understand what's happening with the dollar. The dollar is a system of manipulation and control. I'm not all pessimistic. It did wonderful things. It brought a lot of wealth to this nation, but it was crooked. It was not real wealth. When a bank can, when we go trade stocks, and you can trade on leverage, which means basically borrowing money and maybe 10 times the amount of money you actually have, that's called risky. But when a bank loans you 10 times the money they actually have, that's called the fractional reserve banking system. And guess what? That's the banking system we live under. It's 10 times what it actually is, and that's how far inflated it is as well. And it's about to get pretty nuts with the inflation. Now, before that happens, the dollar might have another leg up and run. But I think eventually there's going to be a blow off top. So whenever that happens, it's hard to tell. There's going to be a lot of events that lead to that. The dollar can't be taken down easily. But Caesar had his day, and then he was betrayed, and he was taken down because he didn't get along. So we either get along with the world, we try to benefit each other, benefit mankind, and help one another, or we manipulate each other and have battles over currencies. And that's what seems to be the option that the U.S. has chosen, to lord this over the world. And guess what? We got on top, king of the hill. But that's just not very nice for everybody else. They don't like that as much. Now, one day they're going to look back on the dollar and say, wow, we made so much money in that, and they're going to weep, just like it says in the book of Revelation. When Babylon falls, the merchants will stand far off because they don't want to be part of the fall. But they'll look back and say, man, we made so much money. Yeah, it was money out of nothing. It was 10 times what it was supposed to be held at value. So it's really, if you're a Christian, you might think about it this way. It's going to be either bartering, Bitcoin, or the beast system someday, because that at some point, and this is what the digital dollar is leading to, it's control. It's more control. You can actually program digital dollars. Blockchain money can be programmed. You can push it in people's accounts. You can pull it out. You can see where it all gets spent. You can control where it gets spent at. And at the end of the book, it says that you're only going to be trading if you're in the beast system, or you're not going to be trading at all. So guess what? It's either Bitcoin or the beast system. It's either bartering or the beast system. And what I think more likely is, probably a privacy coin like Zen or Monero or Zcash, something like that, is the only way that maybe Christians will be able to buy things in the future, And it's just crazy to live in a time where you actually see these things playing out. I mean, you can say that'd be crazy someday, but no, it is crazy. It's crazy right now, and we're at the end of the book. So, guys, plan ahead, be wise, be good stewards, but don't let the wool be pulled over your eyes and think that everything's going to be good and fine and hunky-dory someday. It's not. Things are happening fast, and the future is now. So, take care. God bless. I'll catch you on the next one.